Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I am Tara, and I'm the Senior Director of Product Marketing here at Loop. So my team works really closely with product to market all of the new features we roll out to drive impact for our merchants. And this is Emily.
Hi, my name is Emily Matlock. I am the Manager of Merchant Success and Onboarding here at Loop. It's pretty clear in my title, but here to help make our merchants successful and make sure our onboarding is successful here at Loop.
Thanks, Emily. So with Returnly ending their services in fall, I'm sure that you're busy looking for an alternative return management solution that you can be up and running with as fast as possible, seeing as peak season will be here before we know it. And thanks to our partnership with Affirm, our team is prepared to make your transition as quick and seamless as possible. And so that starts by making sure that you feel as confident in your decision as possible and as informed as you can possibly be. So with that, let's jump into what we're going to cover today to give you that overview. Do you want to start sharing, Emily?
Yes, I do. Let's do it. Let's see. All right. Can you see that, Tara? All right.
Yes, thank you. Awesome, thank you. All right, so on the agenda for today, we're going to walk you through Loop's platform. We're going to talk about how we compare it to Returnly. We're going to discuss how we've been preparing behind the scenes to deliver a seamless transition to Loop. So Emily's going to go over all of those great improvements for onboarding. We're going to have a dedicated session at the end for questions. So please leave any of the questions in the chat, and then we will be sure to cover them at the end of the session. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to you, Emily.
Thanks, Tara. So wanted to start off with a little bit just about Loop. First and foremost, we have a vision here at Loop, which is to help deliver the world's most loved brands their ideal post-purchase experience. So as you can see, we were founded in 2017, and we started out with 3 merchants, Chubbies, Allbirds, and Cotopaxi. And fast forwarding to 2023, we still have those same 3 merchants, but now we help over 2,200 Shopify brands with their returns process retain more than $900 million in revenue. Right now, our stats are a little bit heavier than they were in 2017. We have 190 plus dedicated humans. We have raised $125 million. Again, we have 2,200 Shopify brands and counting, and we process around 1.3 million returns per month, all on our Shopify Plus certified app. Next, as I'm sure you all are curious, we're going to go over a quick video. What does Loop look like end to end for customers? I think this is one of the most asked questions is what does it look like inside? So we're going to give you a peek inside. It's a video. It's a quick video. I'm going to talk over it very quickly as well, but want to make sure you see what it looks like end to end for customers. So I'm going to expand this. Okay, so the first thing is the customer is going to look up their order number and email or zip, select the item they want to return. They're presented with exchange options out the gate, variant exchange options, as well as advanced exchange options. They can select their return reasons, giving you that data behind the scenes about why they're returning. They can select other items and input their specific return reasons for that product. And when they select a refund, we're going to go ahead and present them with Shop Now options, incentivizing them to do an exchange. It looks like they're shopping again, but really behind the scenes, we're giving them a bonus to do an exchange over a refund. This is our in-app version, showing them a list of products this brand has selected. And then at the end, showing them what's in their return. What are they sending back? What are they getting in return? And then once they submit their return, there's a label ready, a QR code, and then a return summary along with instructions on the left-hand side. So that was quick. I will go ahead and pause it there. And then I'm going to continue. Let me get back. Nope, we're not going to play it again. There we go. All right. There we go. So now I want to go a little bit over some of our value pillars at Loop that are really important to us. And we're going to dive a little bit deeper into each of these throughout the webinar. The first is easy exchanges with simpler accounting and reconciliation, improved customer experience and lifetime value while still mitigating risk, greater automation and cost savings, and a returns platform you can count on both now and for years to come. To start, let's start with the boring stuff. Easy exchanges with simpler accounting reconciliation. So a few differences I think it's important to point out. In Returnly, there's no through line to the original order, which makes it difficult to do accounting reconciliation. Because everything is built on gift cards, it leads to double counting revenue. And because there's no through line, it makes it a little bit more complicated than it needs to be. Whereas exchanges in Loop are built on discount codes, making it really streamlined. It does not inflate net sales, and it's a little bit clearer for accountants to use. But most importantly for us, we do leverage an EXC prefix, meaning that we are going to link the exchange order over to the original Shopify order number with that EXC prefix. So you can see exactly what original order each exchange order is linked to, making all of that accounting reconciliation process much easier. All right, moving over to another value pillar of ours, which is improve customer experience and mitigate risk. A few things that I want to point out that I think are really important is with Returnly and the instant credit option, we're not giving shoppers a choice, right? They just get the instant credit and they don't get the choice the same way they do in Loop. There aren't incentives for exchanges, and there are some charges for merchants to cover that risk with instant credit. Just want to point out some stuff in Loop that is really a benefit to exchanges and incentivizing exchanges. We're putting shoppers in the driver's seat. As you saw in that demo, we're offering them an exchange out the gate. And even when they choose to refund, we're still prompting them to do Shop Now and incentivize those exchanges. With Shop Now, we also have features like Shop Later and Instant Exchange, allowing customers to grab that inventory and get their exchange placed right away with a hold on their card, mitigating that risk for you. So with our exchanges, they are risk-free, and there's no commissions, there's no hidden fees with our exchanges. All right, Tara, over to you to talk a little bit about our workflows. Yeah.
Thanks, Emily. So Loop's workflows allows you to fully customize your return policy outcomes. So we really take automation to the next level by allowing you to capture additional return policies and giving you the power to create exceptions, but without sacrificing on automation. So one difference is Returnly's customization is only at the product or the order level, whereas Loop's workflows allow for customized outcomes at the product type, return reason, order value, and more. And what this really means is additional flexibility means that you could do things, for example, like extend the return window for items purchased as part of a promotion, say Black Friday, Cyber Monday. You could shorten the return window for a new customer, one that you just don't have that much confidence in yet. You can increase the Shop Now incentive for your VIP customers. And this is really effective at driving customer loyalty and lifetime value. So lots of flexibility and optionality is provided here by Loop's powerful workflows. And we also provide greater cost-saving tools, mainly as it relates to shipping. So we have pre-negotiated rates with USPS and FedEx, and we also have consolidated options with Happy Returns. And then moving on, we can talk about why Loop is important for, like, we're a great solution for now, but also for the future. So for now, our strategic partnership with Affirm has enabled us to streamline the onboarding process, significantly speeding up the process. So really what's going to happen is with one click, you can transfer all of your Returnly settings into Loop, and that makes it so much faster and reduces the effort that's required for you to onboard with Loop. And then on top of that, we have a dedicated merchant support manager and a support team. They're ready to provide personalized assistance and support you through the onboarding process. So we're really here and dedicated to making sure that the transition is as smooth and as successful as possible. And then in the future, you can count on us for years to come because we have commitment to innovation. Our team is constantly rolling out new features to deliver impact for merchants. Just in this year alone, we've launched Loop Point of Sale, which you can use to drive online returns to your store. We've also introduced returns tracking. And then we also have features such as Shop Now and Shop Later. And these are really effective at allowing you to convert what would have been a return into an exchange and store credit. And that means more retained revenue for you. All right, so let's take a look at a merchant who was previously with Returnly and decided to move over to Loop. So Studs is a jewelry brand founded in 2019, and they're reimagining the earpiecing and the earring experience. And while Studs was started off with Returnly, they realized that with Loop, they were able to transform more returns into exchanges more effectively, and that would support them in their growing business by allowing them to retain additional revenue. So actually, they have 20% of revenue retained from returns, and a $1.20 average upsell per return. They were able to achieve this through improved scalable return processing, improved customer satisfaction, and seamless return and exchange experiences. And we're going to go and talk a little bit more about how they were able to do that with these feature comparisons next.
All right, yes. So as Tara mentioned, we're going to go into a quick feature comparison. We're going to stick pretty high level. There's lots of features with both platforms, but we want to stick to what's probably most important to each of you. So first and foremost, starting with instant credit, right? So as I mentioned, Loop really incentivizes and prioritizes getting exchanges over refunds. So I want to go a little bit into how we do that and what's different with Returnly so that you are aware of that. Okay, so with instant credit, that's automatically issued credit, right? And the customers aren't given a choice whether they want a refund, a store credit, or an exchange. Whereas in Loop, as you saw, we put them in the driver's seat. We give those shoppers their outcome that they want with clear navigation. We're still incentivizing exchanges, but they can get exchange, store credit, or refund right inside Loop. And by making it clear and incentivizing those exchanges, we're leading to boosted lifetime value for those customers. Going back over to the Returnly side, there aren't any incentivized. There's nothing incentivized for exchanges for refunds anyway in Returnly. Whereas in Loop, we have a few different ways that we can do this. We're never quitting. We're always trying to get exchanges over refunds. And the biggest way that we do that is our bonus credit. We have a variety of different ways you can offer bonus credit, both for the shop now. We have store credit, bonus credit, but this incentivizes those exchanges and boosts refund conversion. As we saw in the demo, originally that customer selected a refund, but with that shop now, with that $10 bonus credit, we were able to convert them into an exchange. And then with instant credit, there's some unpredictability, right? Around when is the customer going to use it and on what until that original item return is processed. Whereas in Loop, like I mentioned, we have a few different features that incentivizes exchanges over returns. We already talked about Shop Now and that bonus credit, but we also have Shop Later. That converts refunds to store credit or exchanges after the return is submitted. So incentivizing that customer to say, hey, you submitted a refund. Before that's done, do you want to just get an exchange or a store credit? And we also have instant exchanges. So that is, we can collect their credit card. The inventory is grabbed right away. That exchange order is placed right away, and it's risk-free. There's no hidden fees, no commissions on that. And we can make sure that we're still giving your customers a really exceptional post-purchase experience and getting them their exchange order right away. As we all know, customers don't have any patience. And then lastly, with accounting, the Returnly accounting is based off gift card exchanges, which can lead to double accounting the revenue on accounting and create some additional challenges. And then with Loop, we have more of a streamlined process because everything is done via discount code. Nothing is double counted, and we're able to tie that exchange order back to that original Shopify order, making it a lot easier to see what's going on. All right, Tara, I'll let you talk about workflows.
Thanks. Yeah, we touched on this just a minute ago, but again, as I said, workflows allows you to fully automate the return policy outcomes when you don't have to sacrifice on that automation. So the difference between how Returnly does it and Loop does it. So with Returnly customization, it allows for a technical configuration, but it's on the Returnly and Shopify tags. So it's more difficult to do. With Loop, it's really easy to configure directly in the Loop admin. And then also with Returnly customization, it's only at the product level or the order level. There is an exception that can allow for free shipping based on return reason. But with Loop, you have much more flexibility. And this is really powerful because it allows you to create customized outcomes for different types of scenarios. So as I mentioned, it's on the product type, the return reason, order value, or customer conditions. Really, the scenarios and the outcomes that you can create is really broad and endless. And another nice feature is that it includes a photo upload feature. All right, another great benefit of Loop is that you can stop stressing about reverse logistics with Loop. We know that reverse logistics is a real challenge for merchants, but Loop does all of the heavy lifting. So as I mentioned earlier, we get the best rates without, which means that you don't have to become an expert in the supply chain. And we also, with Loop, you can give your customers the option of at-home pickup. They can have happy returns bars, and then also green returns. So lots of options for your customers when you use Loop. Also with Loop, we have a lot of integrations. We have a lot more than Returnly, and these allow you to connect seamlessly with your 3PLs, ERPs, and preferred carriers. And then we have those negotiated rates, and that really means savings. So that makes sure that you're saving the most on every return and every item. And then we have our point of sale. This is new that we launched this year. It allows you to take your online returns offline so you can drive that traffic into stores and vice versa. So really powerful feature there. Next slide. Thanks. And I'm really excited to share, we have a limited time offer. This is specifically for returning merchants that you'll receive 5% off return bars when you sign up for return bars through Loop before November 1st. So this is an exclusive offer that we're able to offer. There are 9,000, there's more than 9,000 Happy Returns locations. So this is something that you can avail of when you come, just as long as you sign up before November 1st. Okay, let's jump into pricing. I know that this is something that everybody wants to know about. So with Loop, we do have very transparent pricing with no hidden fees, and we actually are able to offer 2 different types of pricing models. So you can pick the pricing model that best suits your business and the stage of growth. So we have a flat fee. This is basically where you are paying the same every month. It allows you to predictably forecast costs. You have the flexibility of adding some add-ons that are relevant to your business on the essential and the advanced package. So you can still customize it to your needs. And the nice thing with this one is, like, if you're looking for predictability, this is a good option for you. And so you just pay the same every month. On the usage base, this is really great, because you also allows you the flexibility to pay as you grow. So it's a flexible cost structure. The difference here is that you're only paying for the returns you use. So that it would change every month based off like what that return volume was. And then you have low monthly starter costs with annual contracts. So there's different options, lower prices that you can come in with at the usage-based offering. The key thing to stress here is that it's really transparent. There's no hidden fees, so there's no surprises at the end of the day.
All right. So as I mentioned at the start of the presentation, I'm a manager of our merchant success and onboarding teams here at Loop. And I think what everyone's wanting to know also is, like, what does this look like? How do we transition to Loop? So I have some high level stuff here that I want to dive a little bit deeper into. But first and foremost, we're with you every step of the way. We know this is a transition, and we've been ramping for months to make sure that we're here to help you however you need it. So a few highlights that I want to call out. First and foremost, there are no additional onboarding costs, even if you need several calls with the team. As much as you need, we're here to give it for you. Most of our merchants are launching within 2 weeks of their effective date. In fact, we have some merchants that have gone live in as fast as 2 days, although I think we've beat that record recently. But really, the most important call out here for me is, like, we're going to match your speed. If you want to go live in 2 days, we're there to support you. If you say, hey, Emily, we're going to need several weeks for this, we've got a lot of internal, priorities and other things that are more important, we'll match your speed on that as well. And then some merchants have their own timeline. Regardless of priorities, they know when they want to go live, and they're going to pick a date, and we'll match that as well. So just know we're here to match your speed and make you feel comfortable and excited about Loop. The most exciting thing from me on here is we have an export function. Tara touched on it earlier, but this is just for Loop, Returnly to Loop merchants. What this means is you can easily consent to Returnly sending your shop configuration over to Loop. That this will speed up the onboarding process and require a lot less manual input from you in setting up your Loop platform. This looks like things like your return reasons, the users inside Returnly that you want to access Loop, some of your basic general settings, some of your return policy. We even have dedicated workflows that we built just for Returnly merchants to match those features. Make sure you can come up with the exact same things you had deep within Returnly. So all you have to do is click the button inside Returnly, and we'll get that information over. And we have a dedicated team to do this for you. It just takes a couple of business days, and then it will shave off hours of that time for you, making this a lot easier to go live with Loop. We have an onboarding plan tailored to your needs. When you install, you're going to custom install link just for you that will have all of the features required that you're paying for to make sure that you're easily able to access those right out the gate. And everything that you will see and receive from us will have all of the instruction that you need. And then I think most importantly for me is you're going to have access to a dedicated onboarding team specifically built to support Returnly merchants. Part of the benefit of this strategic partnership is we've had time to prepare. Our teams have been scaling up and growing to make sure we have enough humans available to help you, but also get a better understanding of what is Returnly and what are these merchants going to need from us. So we have built a dedicated landing page just for our Returnly merchants, lots of resources just for you. And the team is here and excited to help you come over to Loop from Returnly. Okay, some overview and time estimates before you stare at this and wonder, Emily, you just said 2 weeks. It takes a couple of weeks usually, only because, like I mentioned, you're going to have other priorities. That being said, I have estimated about how long it's going to take. Given that we've imported some of your settings and we know exactly what you're going to need, it should be a lot smoother for you than going to any other returns platform. These are averages. This is about how long it would take if you just did Loop and just worked with your onboarding team to make sure you go live. Transparently, most of our merchants use these chunks and spread that over a few weeks, or they'll pick the date they want to go live and spread this out. So, but this is just about how long you can expect it to take. Overall, just several hours to get Loop up and running. But like I mentioned, because of that export feature, we're able to shave off so much of that for you. All right, that's it. Now I know that was a quick overview, but we want to leave plenty of time for Q&A. So Joe or Tara, do we have questions that we want to answer right here?
Yeah, sure, we sure do. So we can start off. There's a question here from Jean. I think this one relates to onboarding. Emily, if we do switch over from Returnly, do we know how much of our data information would be transferring over? Will only a certain percentage of our information data be transferred? Will we be able to pull our old Returnly reports even though we are using
Great question. So we're not going to be importing any of your actual data. That will still live inside Returnly. What we usually recommend is 30 to 60 days out, when you're ready to come over with Loop, start downloading those reports from Returnly. And even when you have switched over to Loop and Loop is live on your website and you're using Loop for your returns, keep Returnly open, process the rest of those returns, download those reports so you have those two separate pieces of analytics. That way, all of that information is from Returnly. You've closed those returns and ready to start fresh with Loop.
Great, thank you, Emily. I am just looking for the next one. Joe has been doing a great job of answering these questions in the chat. Let me see, there's another one here. Hi Loop, we rely heavily on the return API. Given the short runway, do you have any support channels dedicated to the API integration? Also, the Zapier automation looks pretty cool, but apparently it's an invite only. Do you have any materials that outlines the capabilities there?
Yes, we have. In regards to support channels, I think I know what that question is asking, but if I don't answer it, we can answer it after the webinar as well. We do have an entire landing page and web pages built out for Loop's API. And what's nice about that is that your onboarding team can support you in any API questions. And should there need to be complex questions, maybe even a phone call or two with the onboarding team, we're happy and excited to help you out with that. I think there was a question about Zapier, I always say it wrong. It's really easy to set up. It is by invite only, but we'll invite you to that should you choose to go the Zapier route. It's pretty popular among our merchants. It can save a lot of time. I think the most popular thing that's done with Zapier is just sending reports, getting those reports from Loop and sending them somewhere automatically.
Great, thank you. What features, processes are there for QC of rejected returns? So example, returned, worn, stained, etc. I'm sure this is done through workflows.
Yeah. There's a few different ways we can do this. And your onboarding team, what I like to call them is like consultants or strategists. They're going to figure out what you need and make sure that they're giving you the best advice on how to leverage Loop. I usually recommend a workflow for this. There's a few ways we can do it. Like I mentioned, the first is asking that question: is the item in new condition? If they answer that question a certain way, we can reject the return. We can manually review the return. A lot of our merchants are also using that photo upload feature that Tara mentioned. So asking those questions: have they been worn, stained? Are the tags removed? Making sure we can reject those returns, but also requiring a photo upload for certain products. And then those can go into manual review, and your team can review those before the customer submits their return. You can review those and make sure they do meet your quality control standards. Yeah.
Thanks, Emily. Let me just look through what the next question could be. Joe, let me know if there's any ones that are jumping out for you.
I see one, if I don't mind, Tara. Yeah, there's one that says, how long after return isn't received is the customer charge? Can we choose the time frame? You can. There's a maximum time frame, right, based on the bank's requirements, but you can work with your onboarding team to decide what works best for you. With instant exchange, there's two ways you can do it. One is a hold on the customer's card, which is usually just $1, that says, hey, if we don't get the item back, we'll charge you in full. That can happen automatically. So if the customer does not send back their return, we'll charge them. The other option is to charge the full amount. So you're saying, hey, get your instant exchange, and we're going to charge you that full amount. And once it's sent back, we'll refund you. The other sort of safety net there is if you do get something back that does not meet your QC standards, you can still charge them that full amount. So when you come over, your onboarding team can help you go over all of that. And our help center has tons of docs, tons of video walkthroughs that you can use as well to get up to speed on our features.
Yeah. Thank you. I see a question about Klaviyo integrations. And Joe, I know you've answered it, but just to reiterate, yes, we do integrate with Klaviyo and Attentive and many more, and they can all be found on our website. There's an extensive list there. So really that provides you with that flexibility to integrate with all of your favorite partners. And let me see.
I saw one about, do you provide FAQ language for us to update our returns, FAQs? Yes. In fact, we can send you some really great examples of some of our other brands and merchants who have really great returns pages. What we found is that can increase the customer's trust in the brand and their overall lifetime value by seeing a really solid returns policy, making it very clear. So our team is happy to help, like I said, like consult, make sure that it makes sense, show you some of our best examples so that you can update your own FAQs and make sure that it makes sense for your brand.
Thanks, Emily. We have one here. Does Loop allow you to tag a product based on value and create different labels based on these tags? For instance, an order under 500 receives a FedEx ground label, but an order over 2,000 receives a FedEx two-day air label. Great question.
Right now, no, we don't have the ability to do that, but we can make sure that you have the right carriers inside Loop. I think you'll find that labels are a little bit cheaper inside Loop because we have such great negotiated rates. But we can make sure that those carriers are set up the right way. We can make sure that they're working, and then you can select different carriers based on location. And then you have other possibilities inside workflows. You can charge an additional amount for certain products. You can waive fees for certain customers. You can really customize that down all the way to your VIP customers get 0 fees, all the way up to the first-time customers get 0 fees. Anybody in between gets charged a specific fee. So we can help make sure that it makes the most sense for your brand. That's where we really leverage workflows and really where your onboarding team will come into play to make sure that it's set up the way that you want it set up.
Yeah. Thanks, Emily. We have a question around how customizable is the Loop landing page, as well as emails to match our brand. And of course, if you're using those integrations like Klaviyo or Attentive, you can use those to match your brand.
Excellent question. One of the things we do pull over with that import-export feature, I guess it's an export-import feature, is your branding straight from Returnly. So we'll make sure that it matches your website. It should look very similar to Returnly's. We'll pull in your logos, your colors. And then for the notifications, like Tara said, you can certainly use Klaviyo to drive even more branding. But inside Loop, it's all via HTML, and you can input your logo, input your colors, make it really feel like it's from your brand. That's our goal, is to support you and just make sure you're able to deliver your ideal post-purchase experience, all while making your customers feel like they're still on your site, they're still working with you directly.
Thanks, Emily. We have a kind of single order with multiple products. Multiple products be returned as a whole, or does the customer have to return each product individually?
Good question. So I think what you're asking is, as you saw in the demo, you can select more than one product per return. That way your customers can return as many products as they want per return and then get that one shipping label. If you do want them to submit individual returns and get one label per product, we could do that as well. This is where testing, you saw on that little half loop, so to speak, there's a finalized test and launch. Testing is really where you're going to get in there and make sure that it makes sense for your brand. Does all of the font and the text look correct? But also, is everything working as you expected? Testing those products, testing those scenarios, and just make sure that all of that is working for you. So if you want to have one return per product, we can do that. But yes, customers can submit multiple returns per product and get one shipping label at the end.
Great. Thank you. I see a question about is this being recorded and will it be shared out? So yes, it is being recorded and it will be shared out a few days after, well, in the next few days. So you can expect to receive that. Tina has a question. If we don't like the incentive option for choosing store credit, is that a setting to remove?
This is something that I recommend a lot in onboarding. The reason being is, oh, my computer's going a little haywire, is it's really important that you test and tweak, right? A lot of our brands coming into Loop are going to start out with a $10 shop now bonus or a 20% shop now bonus. But we always recommend look at your analytics. What's happening? Make it higher, make it lower, turn it off, see what happens, see what that sweet spot is for your brand. We can pull all of that data for you. We have ton of blog articles, a ton of case studies, especially by vertical, to give you the best recommendation, and our onboarding team can share those with you. That way you can see, based on my vertical and my size, what should I be setting things to and what can I expect. But I always recommend tweak everything. All of these can be changed with a click of a button, and you can set something today, see what happens, and then change it tomorrow.
Thank you. To what extent is that page customized? I think this is referring to the loop page. Do we have access to CSS, or is it with a visual editor?
Yeah, good question. It's a visual editor, but we give you the option of pulling in logos, changing, even down to like changing the way the button looks. There's several fonts you can pick from. We're actually going to pull directly from your Shopify file. So your actual logo from Shopify, your actual colors can come in and make sure that it feels very branded. Again, we can show you a couple really cool returns platforms that look very on brand. Rothy's is a great example. They have a really cool picture on the back end of theirs, and it really looks like it's Rothy's site. So again, that's something that you can set up and then tweak anytime. You know, it's not static. It can be changed anytime to make it feel more on brand for you. And should your logo change or should your site change, you can change that in with Loop to make sure that all the branding is passed all the way through.
Great, thank you, Emily. Let me see another one that hasn't been answered here. We have one. Can a return workflow be customized by country to handle international requests? Actually, I see Joe answered that. Yes, and of course, workflows does allow that to be based on the return country.
Yes, and you can also set up different returns policies as well. Usually, that's what I recommend for international returns. It allows you to customize those instructions and create different fees as well. But we don't expect you to come in and just do this on your own. Please know that my team is really excited and ready to help you. So you're going to have questions, right? And we're here to help those. And you may say, how do I best leverage international returns? You don't have to figure that out. We'll help you figure that out and make sure that it makes the most sense for your brand.
Thanks, Emily. David had a question. Can you provide more commentary around how discount codes are used? Are they prefixed or otherwise easily recognizable versus regular discount codes?
Yes, excellent question. We have a very, very clear discount code that is Loop discount. But if you want to change that for something that makes more sense to you, we can change that. It's one discount code for that exchange process. So you can't do it based on order. It's just one. Our standard out of the box is Loop discount. Makes sort of the most sense. You know it's coming from Loop. But if you're like, no, we want it to say exchange discount, which I see a lot, we can change that for you on the back end to make it make the most sense for your reconciliation process.
Okay, do POS gift returns alert the purchaser?
I believe so. So the POS function the same way as an online return. It's just in store. So it should all look the same. So when they come into the store and they say, hey, I'm returning this item I purchased online, it will go through that same flow. It just looks a little different on the iPad to make sure that all that functionality is working for the in-store associate. But yes, all of those confirmations should still come via email.
And Tina had a question around the Powered by Loop on the landing page. Can that be removed?
Yeah, it can. Right. It's built into some of our packages and pricing, but I can turn that off for you.
Great. I think we're getting to the point where we have answered most of these. So we are Lindsay has a question. We are currently building out a larger site outside of Shopify that will go live next year. Would Loop be able to transfer over?
Yes, this happens quite a bit actually. So we'll make sure that you get a new instance on your new site. Your MSM or your merchant success manager, what we call them at Loop, they're here to help you with that. So as you grow, as you expand and need to add on different stores, different locations, we'll make sure that you have everything you need. And then you're back with onboarding. If that happens, you're back with my team to make sure you get all your questions answered and make any tweaks that you need.
And so yeah, Tina was like asking about the gift returns. Or is it able for the purchaser to not be notified that their gift of the gift
No,
return?
the original purchaser will not be notified. With our gift return solution, there's a few different ways the gift recipient can submit that, but the original purchaser is not notified. With a gift return, they can't get a refund because they didn't pay for it, right? But they can still get a store credit or an exchange, but there's no notification that goes out to the original purchaser.
Thank you. And do we integrate with CRM such as HubSpot? Is one question I think we haven't.
We do not integrate with HubSpot. Not to say you couldn't use Zapier to get information into HubSpot. We certainly use Zapier all the time here at Loop, but we do not have a direct integration with Loop to HubSpot.
Thank you. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. Any other questions that we didn't get to? We will definitely answer. We will follow up individually with all of you. We're going to be going through all of this, and we'll follow up, so you can expect to receive answers from us. Maybe we'll have one more look, Emily, to see if there's any that I missed. One question that Brett has: what's the next step for someone who's interested in migrating to Loop? Is there a possibility of a one-to-one meet before I commit?
Our sales team is ready to meet with you. They're excited. So you can set up a demo with them, and they will be happy to meet with you one-on-one and make sure you get all of your questions answered and that it makes the most sense for your brand.
And I think there was a question also around pricing chart. They will also go through the pricing with you.
Yes, exactly. They will go through both pricing options, see what feature best meets your needs. It will be a whole consultative process to make sure you have all of your questions answered around pricing and features.
Great. Let me just double check.
We do have pricing on our Shopify App Store as well, some basic pricing as well. If you guys want to go there, we have another demo on the Shopify App Store as well as pricing.
Yeah, exactly. And we also have our pricing page
that
Joe just shared.
And our website. You can go to that too.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you everybody for your questions. Like I said, if we didn't get to your question, if I happen to skip over, we're going to go back through all of these questions, and we'll be following up with you individually to make sure you get answers to the questions. And we will also be sending out a recording in the next few days, so you can look for that. And yes, thank you so much for attending and for your engagement. Appreciate your time.
Thank you all.